Plowboi 2021, you heard? Podcast, episode deuce. Holla if you hear me. Into an hour. You know,
right.
No matter what I'm listening to.
First few minutes to turn that shit off.
You know.
Yeah. So a recap of last week, fellas. We had started off on Shikari, Shanae, as some folks call her. And we basically just touched on our views surrounding her suspension and ban from Olympics 2021. So, you know, Julian asked the question, he posed the question, was it wrong? And I think we all touched on that. Next time we see the videos together, we're gonna piece them together so everybody can see, you know, what was said prior to that, who agreed or disagreed. And then we touched on whether or not weed is performance enhancing. And that kind of sparked up a whole nother week-long conversation between us. So where some people agreed, some people was kind of in the middle, and some people disagreed, you know. So if y'all want to just cap off your last little statement about that, if you got something to say, and then we'll move on to our next topic.
Question I posed last week, and it really stems from when I saw on social media how everybody was pretty much like trying to defend Shikari and say that weed was an enhancement. Because everybody, you either right or people said they felt either right or wrong. If she was right or wrong, you know, it's whatever. That's an opinion. But the true statement or the true question was, is weed an enhancement? And then the debate began with that, you know, because even on social media and even in articles, like you saw Caleb posted yesterday, there's research for both sides.
Both sides.
But at the end of the day, my only statement was what, you know, and that's what I said, and I still believe that if you take any substance that allows you to recover, and I was only talking from the recovery aspect, if you have to take or if you utilize a substance to recover, then that is a performance enhancement. Not to mention the fact that it's on the list of banned substances. So if it's water, and if water is helping you recover, water's not on the banned list of substances. But if it's marijuana and marijuana's on the banned list, you dead wrong in the water. And that was my only statement. For recovery aspect, marijuana can be utilized as a recovery. And that's it. That's really my statement. That's what I opened up with last week, and all week this week, I think we kind of back and forth, but that's kind of how I feel about it.
Valid points, bro. Valid points. Gabiz, you want to bring something to that?
I mean, I kind of agree with that. And I mean, when Dot say something about, I kind of agree with that. And I mean, when Dot say something about like as far as like health, I take his advice because he in the healthcare industry. So I know he got more information than, you know, the average person. But for me, it's kind of like a catch-22, because like he said, if you smoking weed and it's helping you relax, it's helping you recover, because it's already, like you said, it's already all types of like studies and shit like that, where you have medical marijuana industry, where you have people where it's helping with seizures and shit like this. And
medicinal, yeah.
So it's got medicinal purposes. But then like you have like Percy Harvin. You know, if you watch Percy Harvin, bro, you know he was fucking up. Like he said, every game he was out. And like I remember so mad, like, bro, what are you doing, man? What is the deal? And like I know he hot. And like me and Buck was saying, it was games when I was like hooping or playing football or something, and I'm like, man, I'm like having my best fucking game. He like, nah, you thought you was having a good ass game, but you were playing like shit. You just didn't care because you was hot. So it's like, bro, for me, like what Dot's saying about the recovery, I agree with that. But like at the same time, if you get high, you get high and try to go run track, or you get high and try to like go play golf, or try to go, you know, go try to fight MMA or something, it ain't gonna help. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of like a catch-22 situation where it can be used as an enhancement, but at the same time, it can be a detriment. And like with Shikari, is on a banned substance. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? The rule is the rule. You know, we can sit up here and debate till we blue in the face, but end of the day,
until it's legalized, you got to leave it alone.
But like I was saying last time, though, and this is my main thing, because I feel like the shit should be legal. Like alcohol, Richard Sherman just got popped. He got drunk, want to beat his old lady. You know what I'm saying? You get drunk, dudes get drunk in the club, they ready to fight. If weed was legal, Richard Sherman gonna be, man, fuck that bitch. Oh, fuck. If you hire the club, you like, hey, whoa, hold on, chill. Yeah. So it's like
trying to avoid conflict.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but still at the end of the day, this shit is legal. Alcohol is legal, weed is illegal. Back in the day when alcohol was illegal, that's when Al Capone, all them was going crazy, doing all of their shit. So you could say, oh, well, it's legal then, it was illegal then, but it's legal now. That's neither here nor there. Because even if it was legal nationwide, still to the Olympics, that's a whole different, that's a whole different bag. So for me, she took her chance and, she did what she did and she get her consequences for it. Because it's like, at the end of the day, she could have been doing it. She could have been on steroids. She could have been whatever type of situation. And she did what she did. We could, the moral aspect, if it's right, if it's wrong, whatever, if it's legal, if it's illegal, to me is completely irrelevant. Because you got all of them other athletes, all of the NBA players on the basketball team, all of the other track athletes, everybody else in track and field and shot put and discus, all of them people, all of the, you know what I'm saying? They all got to abide by the same rules. And she the only one that got popped for some weed. So it's like,
I think, I don't think we debating whether or not it's wrong for her or it's wrong for them to ban her. That's we passed that. Because
I know you're saying like performance. I got a little off topic, but
that Sha'Carri, that's yesterday's news, bro. Yeah. Performance enhancing is today's news. We talking about simply if was performance enhancing, what makes you believe that and what makes you think it may not. You gave some valid point. Tabiz, you did the same. Doc, you want to touch on it, or what's your feelings on marijuana being performance enhancing for sports?
No, I don't think it's performance enhancing. It slows me down whenever I did it, so I don't know,
Speaking from experience.
I speak from experience. Some people, they can work doing it, work with being high, but not me, bro. Nah, man. But let's move on to something else. That's old news.
Old news, man. We had a couple of topics we touched on while we was texting this week. I know K-Dog had brought up the vaccination. We got two vaccinated people on this podcast and two that's not. So I think it's 50-50.
Wait, it's two. I never said if I was vaccinated or not.
Oh no! Oh, you didn't say that?
You might have three. You never know.
I thought
you never know. You might have four. You never know.
My assumptions was that I know because Doc said he was, and I had this conversation with Bridget the other day, man. I ain't never mentioned it, but I ain't never asked nobody personally, "Are you vaccinated?" Never felt the reason to do that. I always thought it's a personal choice. I've been asked multiple times if I was vaccinated, whether it be people at work, whether it be friends of mine, but I never thought to ask nobody because I feel like this. It's a personal choice. One, my decision that I make shouldn't hold no weight on the decision you make because it's going in your body. So I'm saying that to say this. If you choose to do something, have good reason behind it. And if you choose not to, have good reasons and research behind it. But don't let nobody influence you that really don't know what they're talking about. Have good reasons behind what you do, man. And I think the social media aspect of things have really influenced a lot of people, yay or nay, towards the vaccine. So, Doc, we'll go back the other way. You end it. We'll start with you on this one. What's your feelings on whether or not you should get a vaccination?
I think everybody should get one. Not the kids. I think if you under 18, you really don't need one. But I had mine. And I never caught COVID because I don't know if I had COVID or not, but I still got my, you know, and really and truly, I just did it to do it. It was free. Walmart was doing it. I mean, but I don't know what's the big push not to do it. I don't know.
I think social media got a lot to do with not
political. Donald Trump, you know. But what I'm telling you people, Donald Trump got the shot. But y'all listening to Trump, but Trump got his vaccine. I don't know what are they, you know, what are they talking about not getting it, you know? So,
Kabis?
Man, like for me, just me personally, just how vaccines work, right? So like Doc got it, Geechee got it. So even if I got it, if I had it, I'm not a danger to y'all because y'all got it. Y'all got the vaccine already.
I agree.
For me personally, it's too much shit going on. To me, this shit is a whole scam. Like, ain't no vaccine free, ain't no medical, nothing free. You know what I'm saying? I haven't never had nobody walk up to me and ask me, hey bro, you got AIDS? You got HIV? You know what I'm saying? And I have never heard, like, that shit is way more killer, way more deadly than what COVID is. But it's taken way less serious. Motherfuckers won't even they'll fuck a strange bitch out the whatever with no rubber, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They ain't worried about it. But come down, oh, COVID, oh shit, man, COVID. I'm like, bro, I'm all for, like, this my thing. This my thing, just bottom line. You cannot roll out a vaccine that fast. They done had cancer for how long? Diabetes for how long? They ain't got no kind of cure for that shit, nothing. All of a sudden, COVID pop up one day, it's a year, everything shut down. Next thing you know, okay, we got the vaccine, y'all good, come on. That's too shady to me. It's like I can't go for that. It's like y'all got some type of ulterior motive going on. And it's like, for me, and then, cause it's crazy, cause this dude on the internet, he got a little podcast with it. So him and this other dude going back and forth. He like, man, the government, we got people in the government to study it. They already know. You ain't even got to think about it. What? You ain't got to think. Okay, so you trust the government? The same government did the Tuskegee, experiment. The same government that got Area 51 gonna tell you the same government that, you know what I'm saying, been fucking over black people since the beginning? Hell no. So for me, I'm like, look, man, you want the vaccine? Get it, more power to you. The FDA just put a warning on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because it's got side effects. To me, it's not
Johnson
even really
Johnson been shaded from the start. I couldn't bring myself to get the Johnson Johnson. I could not do it.
Talcum powder, they baby powder cause cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I couldn't bring myself to do that.
Look,
that's valid points, though, Capi. I mean, your reasoning behind it is backed with your experience. You brought up Tuskegee Institute experiment. You brought up the shortest time frame that has been produced in, and your distrust for government in and of itself. That's valid points for you. Your experiences aren't everybody's experiences. And I think that, I'm gonna let you touch on this, Della. Our influence, we had this conversation before, is something that we should not push somebody else to do necessarily, because I had this conversation with a guy who was in the military. He said, man, they shot us up with all kind of stuff before I went to the military, man. I don't trust the government. And he went to the military. I told him, I said, man, well, just be careful who you say that around, because that vaccination may save somebody's life. And you telling them not to go get it because of your experience. And that might be right for you.
I wouldn't never tell
might be right for you
to do it. That's my thing. I'm saying, just for me personally, I wouldn't do it. If somebody else want to get it, they can. But on the other side of that coin, it's people that died behind the vaccine. It's people that got all type of side effects and stuff. You seen the thing with a dude, like his tongue swell out his mouth? So it's like another situation where it's like you can get the vaccine and get some bad side effects. You could not get the vaccine and then get COVID, or you could get the vaccine to be fine. You could not get the vaccine to be fine. just for me personally, I wouldn't get it. If somebody asks me for advice about it, I'm gonna tell them how I feel.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? If they person that you more than welcome. Whatever you feel, however your mind frame, whatever you want to do, that's on you. Fact. I would never tell nobody not to do it because of what I believe.
Touch on it for me, Della.
So, few things. The first thing I'll say is that from the beginning, what I saw and what I still say is that we touch a lot on agendas when we texting, and one of the biggest breakdowns I saw with this is just the fact that we're having this conversation in open forum. The fact that it's openly announced now, like you said, Kabis, and like you said, Garrett, and even Big Doc, I think might have texted one time, you now are expected to speak on your healthcare. And I think I think personally that's a slippery slope in terms of healthcare and protected information. You got to remember, just last year before COVID hit, nobody was just vocal about going get just healthcare in general, just shots and certain things that you had protected with your healthcare, with your doctor. Just like when you're speaking to a lawyer, just like these people are bound to not speak the things that they talk about of their patients. And we, by speaking it on social media, you basically allow people to know what your healthcare is, whether it's COVID or not, right? Whether you got the injection or not. And like Kabir said, whether you got AIDS or not, right? So what I'm saying is the slope the scale has now been tipped to where in the future, and I know they're gonna mask it with saying it's a pandemic, so it's different, but everything starts with a whisper. Y'all know that statement, right? Mm-hmm. So COVID was the whisper. Eventually, we get to a point in society where, like even with COVID, beginning of that, you gotta walk in Walmart and you have to show your card of what you've been vaccinated with. And see, today we talking about COVID, but tomorrow we could be talking about diabetes. And tomorrow the next day. And we might think that those things are trivial, but you gotta remember, just a few years ago, there were certain people that were denied insurance because of certain healthcare, because of things that they might have had a pre-existing condition. And there's been laws to prevent that from happening now. So you just opening up so many cans of worms with the fact that you force people, or not necessarily force, you persuade the general public to talk about their healthcare. Me, for myself, I will never say yes or no if I did the vaccine. Me, myself, I will never, and it doesn't matter. Like, I could get COVID and I still wouldn't say it. I could not have COVID and I still wouldn't say it. Because I work in healthcare, and because of what I see, it's not a need to verbalize that. And it's what y'all said. If you get the treatment, that's you. If you don't, that's you still. If you're not affecting me, I won't know one way or another because you're not obligated to tell me that. But now we forced that. We forced that on society to where, and it's gonna happen. People are gonna start, just like the mask, like they're saying it already. If you haven't been fully vaccinated, you have to wear your mask.
Keep wearing the mask.
That's right. So what you have to assume is that whoever got a mask on has not been vaccinated. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But like Big Doc said, he's been vaccinated. He could walk in the same store and wear a mask.
Right.
And he's been vaccinated.
It'll be assumed that he doesn't have.
And if somebody is stereotypical about that, they gonna judge him on that because that is where we are. Like, and now it's a fight. Well, you ain't been vaccinated. Yeah, I have been vaccinated, but you just forced that man to say that. Mm-hmm. So it's the slope, and that's what I disagree with. However, it's healthcare. I'll never judge anybody for getting it. And I agree with your statement too, Garrett. You got to be careful who you say it around because you don't want to be the influence to get that person either to do or to not do because it could mean their life. You know,
could be the difference. let me touch on something that you mentioned about the HIPAA laws, and I don't know exactly how this relates, but I know for a fact that when I sent my kids to school, they had to have a vaccination for certain things. They had to have this vaccination card filled out by a doctor, right, proving that they were vaccinated for certain things, polio, mumps, or whatever it may be. And whether or not we did believe in getting that vaccination for them, determine or not whether they could go to that school. So as far as that go, I don't think that it's necessarily new to the fact where they've pushed vaccines before. And whatever reasoning behind not getting it, whether you think it's coming out too quick, whether you think COVID isn't that bad, I really do think that the push for it stems from, honestly, they want the economy back. And they know that if COVID spikes the way it was this time last year, the economy will crumble. It will continue to crumble. So they pushing it, like you said earlier today, follow the money, follow the moolah, the l'argent. That's why, it's skeptical, even on my part, and I done already had the vaccine. They pushing so hard to get this, and they pushing it because the dollar at the end of the day is what's important to them. Like y'all always bring up, they cancer, they ain't found a cure for that, or AIDS, they ain't found a cure for that, or they not pushing people to eat healthy or exercise healthy. They close the gyms down before they, close anything. But when they start losing money, they take action. They take action. And this is the action that they take. They taking the action that we want everybody to get vaccinated so we can open up the Superdome, or we can open up this place, or we can open up that place in order to generate dollars.
Okay, and I agree, but here's the question I pose to everybody now. What happens when you can't get everybody? Because what we know is you never will. They'll never get 100% of America.
Right.
Have you thought about that?
That's the next step. That's the next step. And like you said, valid point. It may come to the place where we have to show proof to go. I know for a fact that they already not letting you book a cruise unless you vaccinate.
That's correct.
So, that's like you say, that's the whisper. Later on, it may be a shout, depending on, where we go from here. This is all new to us. We know they've had pandemics before. We know that they've had things before our lifetime that caused us to lose many, many lives. Look, K-Dog can jump in.
Big Doc, what you think, Big Doc? Because that's as Gary was talking about it, that's what I want to ask him, like from an older person's perspective, the oldest on the group right here. But so, in many years that you've been living, it's no way in nothing really. You could name whatever subject. 100% of America or the world, you're gonna always have a split. What do you think happens in that case?
But I think y'all putting too much into this vaccine. The vaccine is not a cure. It's something that is not a 100% cure. It's not a cure. It's to help you maybe once you do get COVID, you won't get it so bad. You can just knock it out in a couple of days. It won't be as bad as 2 or 3 weeks as if you didn't take the vaccine.
Right.
That's why I took it. And nothing's 100% curable. Death is gonna come no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Everybody think, just take the vaccine and nothing gonna happen to you. Man, take the vaccine. It ain't as big as you think it is. They're afraid of this thing, and it ain't.
Like you said earlier today, Big Doc, American capitalism. You can get a heart transplant and get out of the hospital and go get fast food from the place down there.
Go get kidney dialysis next to Dunkin' Donuts.
Right next to Dunkin' Donuts.
They popping up these little Brandon these little places that popping up just like Dunkin' Donuts.
They had a deal in New Orleans where if you got vaccinated, you would get a donut a year, a donut a day for the rest of the year.
But that's just, that's just going.
Yeah, they trying all kind of things. You could sign up to get a lottery. They trying all kind of things, man, and pushing. And I really do believe that it's all backed. It's backed by greed. It's backed by money.
Bro, I'm everywhere. I'm in New York, West Coast, East Coast. I needed it. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all in your own little bubble most of the time. Like Kabis and Brandon, I wouldn't worry about it. Y'all young, I'm 55 years old, bro. That's why I took it. But if I was young and healthy like y'all boys, I wouldn't worry about it.
Valid point. They not letting, I don't know if y'all knew this, but they not letting anybody go to the Olympics fan-wise. Just the participants, referees.
What about the athletes? Do they have to be vaccinated?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Anybody know about that?
Nah, that's a good question.
No, I ain't heard. I didn't even know the fans can go.
Yeah, and they doing no fans this Olympics, man. It's new for everybody, man. And Doc, that is a valid question. I'm gonna have to do some research and get back to you on that one.
I was just wondering, bro.
Maybe I wanted to say about it.
Vaccine.
Go ahead, Copy.
You was breaking up. If the athletes can't go without the vaccine.
No, he was asking if they can.
Man, but for me, have y'all seen the thing about Fauci with the emails?
Nah.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so basically, Fauci was the United States government was funding the lab in Wuhan when everybody was saying like the lab where it started. So basically, from the beginning, that COVID started from that lab, and because of a leak in that lab is why everything started. So it's like, for me, like I said, man, and it's like, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it's too much like the mark of the beast. Like that, B-Dot was saying, it's like it started with a whisper, but it's gonna turn into a roar. And it's like it's too easy to go from, okay, well, you can't book a cruise unless you got a vaccine, to where it's gonna be to you can't buy no fish, you can't buy no bread unless you got this certain one code. And it's like, I feel like they did this whole COVID shit to prove that they could, to see who they can control and who they can't. So they can say, okay, well, it's too much going on in the world. We gotta, every country gotta band together. So Russia, China, the United States, Mexico, Canada. Okay, now what we gonna do is we gonna make this one world currency. There's no more yen, it's no more this and that. It's only this card. It's no dollars, no change, no nothing. It's just this card. If you ain't got this card, you got to do this. And to get this card, you got to yield blood or something, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like a stretch, but it's really not. It's the same thing with the vaccine. Okay, well, we just got this vaccine. It just came out. Come get it. If you don't get it, you can't do this. If you don't get it, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just to say, if you don't obey us, then you can't do what you want to do. You can't move how you want to move. And at the end of the day, a government people, yeah, you a doctor, whatever, you went to medical school, but doctors, like I said, you ain't cured cancer. You know what I'm saying? To me, people worry about the wrong virus. Like I said, ain't nobody ever said, oh, well, do you got HIV? Oh, do you got hepatitis? Do you got chlamydia? You know what I'm saying? Niggas will pull a bitch draws down and knock her down.
Let me say this, Kabis, to what your point is. Let me chime into your point right quick, and I'm gonna let Kate touch on this, because this is actually the topic that Kate had brought up for us to have this week. But what you're saying is valid with your skepticism, but I'm gonna tell you like this: those diseases that you talked about, cancer and AIDS and whatever they may be, are detrimental. They affect a lot of people. You may know someone very close to you that they affect. It may affect you, but it hadn't affect their pockets. And back to my point, that's why they pushing this particular thing. It's about the money. That's why they pushing this. They pushing it about the money. Okay, that's my feeling on it. And you may have a different feeling on it about a new world order, about them controlling us or putting something in us.
But that's what I'm saying
valid,
too. I'm saying that same thing. I'm telling you, bro. COVID didn't start from whatever. COVID started from a United States funded lab in Wuhan, China, that Dr. Fauci started. I'm telling you, Google the Dr. Fauci email. He under investigation right now because he was like the U.S. liaison to that lab. And the United States government was funding it, and they was funding COVID research. Wow. I'm telling you, bro, like that was the big thing about, because he had to go testify before Congress about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like they did this just to prove they can, to see like a test run. Like, what do we got? That's not gonna be like a zombie apocalypse where it's gonna kill billions of people. But somewhere it'll kill a few 100,000 people in a country, you know, like but not the children, you know, like it'll, you know, and
but
then let's see how far we can
4 million, dog. 4 million. Not a few 100,000, 4 million in this country.
Hold up, G. Doc was saying something. What you say, Doc?
You can hear the same thing that Kabisa is saying on Alex Jones. That's our conspiracy theory. Go on. Let K-Dog.
K-Dog, chime in, man. We talking about your topic you brought up, whether or not vaccinations, you should get them or not.
My main reason for bringing that topic up is because of my health. I can only chime in on myself and why I'm choosing
your experience
to go vaccinated. You know, I just had an appointment on Monday with my neurologist, and he's all for it. You know, he sees nothing wrong with me going out and get the vaccine at all. Now, my family care doctor is against it 100%. She doesn't believe in it. So that's two different people in the medical profession who have two different opinions.
Two totally different
opinions. Both of them have to do with my own health. You know, I see both of them. But being that as though my neurologist suggested it and said that it would be good, or said that it wouldn't cause any kind of detrimental things towards my health, I'm gonna go ahead and get it done. The thing with what I noticed, Kabis was saying about the treatment of AIDS and cancer and everything, is because the money is in the cure, is in the treatment. Like, so the way these people is treating cancer, is treating diabetes, is treating AIDS, is treating all these things that they probably already have a cure for. You know, that we don't know what they have. They may have a cure for it, but the money is in the treatment of it. So why not make the money that you can make? I can't comment much about what you said about it starting in China and Dr. Fauci having a part to do with it. I hadn't heard that, but I hadn't looked it up either. So I need to do my homework and check into it more and actually see if Dr. Fauci is being investigated for having something to do with the beginning or with the start of the COVID in in America. Also, the new variant that's going on right now, they have said that it affects like the younger age. So like probably our age group, our kids, it'll affect them more, the Delta variant. But I mean, I'm only speculating on things that I see on the news, you know?
Yeah.
And
we got, let me chime in on that. We all know about the virus mutating and stuff, and we don't want to totally get off topic. We're talking about the vaccination, and it definitely relates to what you're saying, K-Dog, about COVID and it mutating, and you know, this is all new. We hearing new things every day, new information, and we gotta react to that information however we see fit. But you know, it's been say a little over a year since COVID kind of impacted everybody, and in our closing statement tonight, since we kind of been basically talking about the vaccination and where we are today, maybe because of the vaccination, and where we were this time last year without it. We're gonna kind of roundabout bring it home with how has COVID impacted your life? There may be somebody on here that want to chime in about them having COVID, about them maybe losing their job, or maybe it didn't affect them one bit. We'll just close out with your closing, statement about basically what you think this is all about. If Kabis touched on what he think it's all about, we'll just work our way back and close up in the next 10, 15 minutes. Doc, you can start on that.
I really and truly think it was about Donald Trump and the election. They released the virus, regardless of who released it. They wanted to shut down the country, to crumble the country, so Donald Trump would lose the election. Even though I'm not a Trump fan, I think that was wrong, but it got out of hand, and now that's where we at today. We with this vaccine and everything. It's serious business, but that's what the world. You notice every election year, it's a pandemic. You can look it up, you can Google it. And it started out, they thought this virus was gonna kill a few people that's sick, but it just got out of hand, and that's where we're at now. It hadn't affected me, my business. I'm still rolling, but I know it's crumbled a lot of other people. A lot of other truckers lost everything, So
thanks.
I'm still living.
Thank God for that.
That's right, bro.
Dot, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think in a roundabout way, it's affected me in terms of like how things get moved in life. I was restricted. I could only go certain places. I still can only go certain places. I want to go somewhere and I can't because they got a limit. I wanted to go to concerts throughout the there was no concerts. The live shows were stopped. And appearances in a band. If you played in a band, a lot of people didn't play at all in bands. So from a roundabout way, I think it affected all of us in general. But you might not feel like Big Doc said it didn't affect them personally, because as long as the finances stayed the same, you were straight. But for me personally, it didn't affect me from a financial side, and it didn't affect me from occupationally. It didn't affect me, but I was affected I think emotionally. I think it also affected everybody emotionally because you were so restricted, because you had to be on your P's and Q's with certain things. Now you got to make this decision about getting a vaccine or not getting a vaccine. Should I listen to my GP or should I listen to my neurologist? Which one is giving me the best information? Should I listen to my uncle who's a nurse anesthetist, or should I listen to my cousin who's a doctor? It's like, it was, and that's stress, whether you realize it or not.
Absolutely.
It played a part. So for me, I think you touched on it earlier. I think the world just wants to get back to normal, but I think that's a very evading or elusive idea, because I don't think we're gonna know it normal no more. Is this the beginning of what you said? This ain't my idea. You said it, G. It's the beginning of a new. It's just gonna be changes in everything from here on.
Absolutely.
So somehow,
I don't think it'll ever be the same.
Yeah, I think people like Big Doc gonna end up, like transportation and things like that. It's probably gonna end up boosting that in the near future, because look at how things change with Amazon and the shipping and things like that. So it could be a swing in a whole nother direction, but we won't see it until 10 years until we 10 years in it. But that's all I got on that.
Interesting point, man. Kabis, go ahead, bro. From this time back, I'm just reiterating from this time last year back to where we are now. How has COVID changed anything in your life? How has it affected you? Has it not affected you? Do you think it's a hoax? Do you think it's really serious? Whatever you want to put in about, we talking about COVID.
Man, for me personally, it completely changed my life 100%, bro. I was working at the port, I was driving, you know what I mean?
I can't even break it.
Could be
He froze up, look like.
Yeah.
You there, Kabi?
But
You back?
you know what I mean? Was I?
I said you had froze up and we had missed a little bit of what you said.
Oh, I'm saying before COVID, I was a completely different industry. I was driving, working for the Port of Houston. That whole shit got shut down. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm in a completely different